There's a place on Earth where nature went completely off script. A cluster of volcanic islands, floating in the Pacific, where birds evolved in the weirdest ways imaginable. Some drink blood, some hunt at night with night vision eyes. One is so well camouflaged you could stare right at it and never know it's alive. Welcome to the Galapagos, where survival meant mutation and evolution got creative. In this video, we're counting down 15 of the strangest birds on the planet, from the infamous vampire finch to a nocturnal gull with glowing eyes, to a heron that looks more like a mossy boulder than a bird. Whether you're a bird nerd or just here for the bizarre, these creatures will make you rethink what birds are even supposed to be. Let's dive in. You're looking at a bird that forgot how to fly and somehow made it work. This is the flightless cormorant, one of the most bizarre outcomes of evolution on the Galapagos Islands, and the only species of cormorant on Earth that can't fly. Let that sink in. A seabird from a family known for soaring over oceans that said, I'll just swim instead, and it does it well. Found only on Fernandina and the west coast of Isabella Island, this bird has small, stubby wings, but powerful legs and webbed feet that make it an elite underwater hunter. It dives with grace, chasing eels, fish, and octopus like a feathered torpedo. Why did it give up flight? Because it didn't need it. With no natural land predators and a rich buffet of marine life right offshore, flying became pointless and costly. Over time, natural selection said, if you don't use it, you lose it. So it did. Its wings shrank, its body bulked up, and now it's grounded, but thriving in its own weird way. Fun fact, flightless cormorants perform an awkward but endearing mating ritual where they twirl seaweed together in the water before building a nest out of seaweed and debris on the rocky shore. Today, only around 1,000 breeding pairs remain, making it one of the rarest seabirds on the planet. Climate change, El Niño events, and introduced predators like rats still threaten its future. But for now, this odd, grounded swimmer stands as one of evolution's boldest experiments, a living reminder that in the Galapagos, being different isn't just okay, it's survival. Penguin? On the equator? Yep, this is the Galapagos penguin, a pint-sized rule breaker in a tuxedo. While most penguins prefer icebergs and blizzards, this one waddles across sun-baked lava rocks on the Galapagos Islands, soaking up sunshine just a few hundred miles south of mainland Ecuador. So how does it survive in a place where the average temperature is around 80 degrees Fahrenheit? Thank the ocean. Specifically the Humboldt and Cromwell currents, two cold water streams that bring chilly, nutrient-rich water right to the island shores. That means more fish, cooler temps, and one happy tropical penguin. At just 19 inches tall and weighing around 5 pounds, it's one of the smallest penguins in the world. It may look cute and clumsy on land, but underwater, it's a lightning-fast fish hunter, sleek, silent, and super efficient. Fun fact, because it lives in such a hot climate, the Galapagos penguin has evolved to pant like a dog to release body heat. It also stretches its flippers outward to cool down and nests in shaded lava crevices to protect its eggs from the heat. But this tropical penguin is in trouble. With only about 1,200 individuals left in the wild, it's listed as endangered. El Niño events can warm the waters and crash their food supply, while invasive predators like cats, dogs, and rats threaten nests. Still, the Galapagos penguin is tough. It's found a way to thrive where no other penguin dares. A true evolutionary rebel that proves you don't need snow to rock a tuxedo. If penguins are the quirky charmers of the Galapagos, then the waved albatross is the elegant drama queen. With a wingspan stretching over 7 feet, this bird glides over the ocean like a ghost in slow motion. But despite spending most of its life soaring thousands of miles over open sea, there's only one place it comes back to breed: Española Island, in the far southeast corner of the Galapagos. That's right, this entire species returns year after year to the same remote wind-blasted island for one big reunion and one seriously weird mating ritual. The waved albatross courtship dance is part ballet, part comedy. Long neck stretch, bills clack loudly in rhythmic duels, and both birds sway side to side like drunk swordsmen. It's charming, awkward, and oddly mesmerizing, and it cements a lifelong pair bond. Fun fact, once bonded, these albatrosses stay together for life and can live up to 45 years. Talk about commitment. The name waved comes from the subtle ripple pattern on their pale yellowish chest feathers, which kind of look like soft ocean swells. Their sharp yellow beaks and strong white heads give them a regal, almost ancient look, like sea captains reincarnated. Despite their grace in the air, they're hilariously clumsy on land. Imagine a 7-foot wingspan trying to take off with a headwind. It's part crash, part miracle. Unfortunately, the waved albatross is critically endangered. Climate change, longline fishing, and habitat disturbance are all serious threats. And since they breed only in one location, they're especially vulnerable to disaster. But still they return, year after year, to dance, to pair, and to pass on the ritual that evolution choreographed long ago. In the Galapagos, survival isn't just about eating or escaping. Sometimes it's about showing up, doing the dance, and trusting the wind. He's got sharp talons, laser eyes, and no natural predators. Basically, he's the apex boss of the Galapagos sky. Meet the Galapagos hawk, a raptor found nowhere else on Earth and the top predator of the island's fragile food chain. While he may not be as massive as a golden eagle, his role is just as important. With a wingspan of about 4 feet and weighing around 2 to 3 pounds, this bird rules the volcanic terrain with quiet confidence. What makes him so unique? For starters, he's fearless. Because the Galapagos evolved without large land mammals, this hawk never had to be cautious of people. So even today, you can get surprisingly close. In fact, some will stare right at you from a cactus perch, like they're judging your life choices. Their diet? Just about anything smaller than them. Lizards, snakes, iguanas, small birds, and especially carrion. They're opportunists, scavengers, and sometimes even team up to hunt. Another oddity, Galapagos hawks often practice cooperative polyandry, which means one female mates with multiple males, and they all help raise the chicks. It's rare among raptors and a fascinating twist in their breeding behavior. Fun fact, Charles Darwin himself was followed by Galapagos hawks as he explored the islands, almost like feathered paparazzi curious about the weird two-legged newcomer. Sadly, the hawks' numbers are shrinking. They're now limited to just a few islands and threatened by habitat loss and invasive species. But for now, the Galapagos hawk still soars, a living symbol of an ecosystem where balance means everything and where being fearless just might be the best survival strategy of all. This bird has one of the most powerful beaks in the Galapagos, and it's not afraid to use it. Meet the large ground finch, a compact little creature that helped inspire one of the most groundbreaking ideas in science, natural selection. At first glance, it's not much to look at. Dark brown or black feathers, short tail, and around 6 inches long. But its secret weapon is impossible to miss. A massive, thick, cone-shaped beak, built to crush the toughest seeds on the island, like a nutcracker on steroids. Among Darwin's famous finches, this one has the largest and strongest bill. Evolved specifically to exploit a niche, hard seeds that few other birds can break open. This evolutionary arms race, between birds and seeds, is exactly the kind of microevolution that fascinated Darwin. Small environmental pressures, big biological shifts. And the cool part, this isn't theoretical. Researchers have documented real-time changes in beak size within just a few generations. Especially during droughts, when food sources become scarce. Fun fact, despite their intimidating beaks, large ground finches have a sweet, melodic song. A funny contrast to their tough guy look. They nest low in shrubs and bushes. Side, and often live in dry, arid zones of islands like Santa Cruz and Santiago. While they're not currently endangered, ASE5 is still vulnerable to habitat loss and parasitic flies like Flightless Cormorant, which attack nestlings. The large ground finch may not soar high or hunt prey, but it represents something just as powerful. Adaptation in action. Proof that sometimes a small change in one beak, can change the way we understand all of life. This little bird may look ordinary, but it's hiding a secret weapon, a stick. Say hello to the woodpecker finch, the MacGyver of the Galapagos. While most finches peck at seeds or sing in shrubs, this one crafts tools, breaking off twigs or cactus spines and using them to extract grubs from tree bark. Yes, you heard that right. A wild bird using a tool, without training, without YouTube, and without opposable thumbs. It's one of the few non-human animals on Earth that uses tools in the wild, and one of even fewer that actually modifies them to suit a task. The behavior is learned, passed down through observation, and essential during dry seasons when insects hide deep inside dead wood. Physically, the woodpecker finch is unassuming, about 6 inches long, olive brown with streaky underparts. But what it lacks in glamour, it makes up for in brains. Fun fact, researchers have seen some finches carry their stick tools between trees, like they're heading to the next job site. Tool in beak, mission in mind. This behavior helped reinforce Darwin's idea that isolation can drive not just physical, but behavioral evolution, especially in harsh, competitive environments. Sadly, like many other Galapagos finches, they face modern threats: habitat destruction, invasive species, and parasites that weaken nestlings. But as long as there are grubs to grab and sticks to shape, this clever little innovator will keep tapping at bark, proving that intelligence sometimes evolves out of necessity. If evolution had a most endangered list, this bird would be near the top. Meet the Mangro finch, the rarest of all Darwin's finches, and one of the most endangered birds in the entire world. It lives in just one place, a small stretch of mangrove forest on the west coast of Isabella Island. Not the whole island, just a narrow strip, barely a few miles wide. With a population of only about 100 individuals left in the wild, this bird is hanging on by a thread. Physically, the mangrove finch isn't flashy. Brownish olive plumage, about 5 inches long, a short tail, and a pointed beak designed for picking out insects. It nests in dense mosquito-filled mangrove trees, far from human activity, but not far enough. Its biggest threat? An invasive, parasitic fly, Flightless Cormorant. This fly lays its eggs in finch nests, and when the larvae hatch, they feed on the blood and tissue of chicks, often killing the nestlings before they even fledge. To make matters worse, climate change is shifting mangrove patterns, and introduced predators like rats and cats are always nearby. But there's hope. Conservationists are working hard, hand-rearing chicks, building nest protection zones, and monitoring the tiny population daily. It's a race against time, but one that might still be winnable. Fun fact, because of its isolated habitat and small numbers, many Galapagos locals and even some guides have never seen one in the wild. The mangrove finch isn't famous. It doesn't have flashy feathers or funny behaviors, but it's proof that in the age of extinction, even the smallest life is worth saving. If there were a secret society of birds, this one would be its founder. Meet the Galapagos rail, a tiny, shy, ground-dwelling bird that most visitors to the islands will never even see. Why? Because it's a master of stealth. It lives hidden in dense underbrush, rarely flying, and when it does, it's more of a panicked flutter than an elegant takeoff. This bird is about 5 to 6 inches long, with a dark gray belly, brown streaked back, and bright red eyes that look like it just stumbled out of a nightclub at 3 a.m. But don't be fooled by the party eyes. The Galapagos rail is incredibly elusive. It's found only in humid highland areas, on a few islands like Santa Cruz, Santiago, and Pinta. And unlike many birds in Galapagos, this rail can't fly long distances. which makes it uniquely vulnerable, but also uniquely endemic. Fun fact, this bird likely descended from a mainland species millions of years ago, but evolved into a nearly flightless, island-hugging version after settling in the predator-free zones of Galapagos. Unfortunately, things aren't predator-free anymore. Introduced species like rats, cats, and goats have disrupted its habitat and made nesting almost impossible in some areas. Still, it survives, barely, thanks to its incredible camouflage and a diet of insects, worms, and seeds foraged along the forest floor. Seeing one in the wild is like spotting a shadow in motion. Silent, swift, and gone before you realize it was ever there. The Galapagos rail may be small and secretive, but it's a living relic, a quiet echo of ancient colonization, and proof that not all birds need wings to stick around. Most birds never make it into science textbooks, but the medium-ground finch? This little bird basically wrote a whole chapter. Found across many Galapagos islands, the medium-ground finch looks average. About 4.7 inches long with brownish-black feathers and a short tail. But don't let the ordinary looks fool you. This bird has become a scientific legend. Why? Because of its beak. Specifically, the way its beak changes size and shape over generations, depending on the environment. During long-term research on Daphne Major Island, scientists Peter and Rosemary Grant studied this species for over 40 years. They discovered that in times of drought, only finches with deeper, stronger beaks survived, because they could crack open the tough, dry seeds left behind. When rains returned and softer seeds became plentiful, smaller beaked finches bounced back. In other words, natural selection in real time, not over millennia, but in just a few years. That kind of data is gold. It helped confirm what Darwin only suspected, that evolution isn't always glacial. Sometimes it's quick, precise, and brutally efficient. Fun fact, despite being the medium in its name, this finch's size and beak vary widely depending on which island it's from. Another sign of how adaptive radiation shapes life here. Medium-ground finches mostly eat seeds, but will also nibble on flowers and insects when available. They're social, active, and a key part of the Galapagos ecosystem. So no, it's not flashy. But the medium-ground finch is one of the most important birds in evolutionary science. A tiny feathered teacher that showed us change is not just possible, it's measurable. Now this is not your average gull. Say hello to the swallowtailed gull, a sleek red-eyed hunter who does something no other gull, or really no other seabird, dares to do. It hunts at night. That's right. The swallowtailed gull is the only fully nocturnal seabird on the planet. While other gulls squawk around tourist beaches during daylight, this one heads out under the cover of darkness, gliding silently over open water in search of squid and fish that rise to the surface after sunset. Its adaptations are wild. Enlarged eyes with a layer of tapetum lucidum, like cats and owls, to boost night vision. Superb low-light targeting for precise mid-air hunting. And yes, it even sleeps during the day on rocky ledges and cliff faces. Visually, it's stunning. Slate gray wings, clean white body, black head during breeding season, and those intense crimson eyes that look like it's been reading vampire novels. It gets its name from its long, deeply forked tail, which helps it maneuver with grace through the night skies. Wingspan? Around 3.5 to 4 feet, and it's endemic to the Galapagos, a capitu, meaning it breeds only here, on rocky coasts and sea cliffs, especially on islands like Genovesa and Espanola. Fun fact, while courting, males offer females a freshly caught squid. That's right, nothing says romance like a midnight calamari snack. Unlike many Galapagos species, the swallow-tailed gull isn't critically endangered, but it's still threatened by ocean pollution, warming seas, and light pollution that can disorient their night-flying instincts. It's elegant, mysterious, and a total outlier in the seabird world. The swallow-tailed gull doesn't just live in the dark, it owns it. In the Galapagos, survival means adaptation, and no one does it quite like the cactus finch. This bird has turned a spiky plant into a full-course meal and even a lifestyle. Found mostly on islands like Santa Cruz and Genovesa, the cactus finch has evolved a longer, more pointed beak than many of its cousins. Why? Because it specializes in feeding on Opuntia cactus, from the flowers to the pulp to the seeds. Even the nectar and pollen are on the menu. And yes, that includes navigating around sharp cactus spines to get the good stuff. During the dry season, when food is scarce, this finch doesn't just survive, it thrives, thanks to its intimate connection with the cactus. Fun fact, cactus finches have even been seen using pieces of cactus pad as shelter or platforms for nesting. A built-in air-conditioned apartment, Galapagos style. But it's not just about food. Studies show that different populations of cactus finches have slightly different songs and beak shapes, hinting at the early stages of speciation, where one species might be in the process of splitting into two. They're not flashy, olive brown feathers about 4.5 to 5 inches long, light streaks on the chest. But in the grand story of adaptation, they're a key chapter. The cactus finch shows how deeply evolution can fine-tune a creature to its environment, right down to what it eats, where it nests, and how it sings. And in a place where lava meets life, sometimes the smartest move is making friends with the cactus. If doves usually symbolize peace and purity, this one might just rewrite the whole narrative. Say hello to the Galapagos dove, a bird that looks like it belongs in a painting, but behaves like it's got secrets. Found only in the Galapagos Islands, this dove has adapted to island life in ways that are as curious as they are clever. It's slightly smaller than the typical mourning dove, about 7 to 9 inches long, but its appearance is anything but plain. With a rich chestnut brown body, iridescent blue eye rings that glow like sapphires, and black and white wing patterns that flash when it flies, the Galapagos dove looks like someone dressed it for a masquerade ball. But here's the twist, it can barely fly. Due to the island's isolation and lack of predators over evolutionary time, this dove evolved to be mostly terrestrial, spending much of its time walking on the ground, picking at seeds, cactus fruit, and small insects. And yes, it will walk right up to people. In fact, it was one of the first birds Darwin saw up close when he arrived in the archipelago. Fun fact, it plays a vital role in dispersing seeds of the Opuntia cactus, which in turn provides food and shelter for other endemic species. So, while it looks humble, this dove is actually a key player in the Galapagos ecosystem. But island life has its risks. Introduced predators like cats and rats now pose serious threats, and their tameness makes them easy targets. Conservation efforts are ongoing to keep them safe. What's truly beautiful about the Galapagos dove isn't just how it looks, it's how deeply it belongs here. It's not just a resident, it's part of the rhythm, the texture, the DNA of the islands. So tell us in the comments, are you more drawn to the showy birds or the quiet ones hiding in plain sight? Because in the Galapagos, even the doves have evolved a little differently. On the black volcanic shores of the Galapagos, where the rocks still whisper of lava flows, lives a bird that has mastered the art of invisibility. This is the lava heron, a sleek, stealthy predator dressed head to toe in smoky gray, blending perfectly into the hardened basalt coastlines it calls home. Unlike its flashy mainland cousins, the lava heron is short, stocky, and silent. It stands just about 18 inches tall, with slate gray feathers, yellow legs, and eyes that burn with patient focus. Its favorite hunting method? Stillness. It stands motionless on the rocks, waiting for a fish, crab, or unsuspecting marine iguana hatchling to swim just a bit too close, and then, in a flash, strike. Fun fact, its gray plumage isn't just stylish. Its camouflage evolved to match the black lava rocks, giving it a visual edge that most herons can only dream of. The lava heron is found only in the Galapagos, usually hugging the coastline, never straying far from the sea. It's not a social bird. You'll usually spot it alone, patrolling tide pools like a moody sentry, or perched mid-blink on a barnacle-covered boulder. While it's not endangered, it's still vulnerable to habitat disturbance and invasive species, especially feral cats and rats that may raid its nests. But for now, this volcanic ghost of a bird continues its slow, patient prowl along the lava shorelines, a living echo of the Galapagos itself, ancient, silent, and still very much alive. The lava heron doesn't shout to be seen, it just waits until you look close enough. If the Galapagos had a greeter at the airport, it would be this bird. Say hello to the Galapagos Flycatcher, a cheerful, curious little bird that seems to think you are the most interesting thing on the island. Also called the large-billed flycatcher, this is the most widespread and commonly seen land bird in the Galapagos. And for good reason, it has zero fear of humans. We're talking landing on your backpack, your camera, your hat, staring at you from 6 inches away like you're the zoo exhibit. Why? Because this bird evolved in a place without natural predators, so it never developed the instinct to be wary of people, which makes it a favorite among photographers, hikers, and basically anyone who likes to be chosen by a bird. Physically, it's adorable. About 6.5 inches long, with warm brown upper parts, a pale yellow belly, a little mohawk-like crest, and of course, a rather large bill for a flycatcher. That bill helps it snatch up insects mid-air, pluck them off leaves, or steal small bugs from lava rocks. It also eats fruits and berries, especially from native plants, making it both a predator and a pollinator in its own way. Fun fact, unlike many other Galapagos birds that are island-specific, the Galapagos flycatcher is found on almost every major island, from arid lowlands to humid highlands. It builds small nests in tree cavities, cactus holes, and even abandoned finch nests. Talk about upcycling. Though not endangered, it faces modern risks: habitat degradation, invasive insects, and competition for nesting space. But for now, it remains one of the most beloved and approachable birds in the Galapagos. A reminder that in a world full of shy and secretive species, sometimes the boldest move is just saying hi. Before Darwin's finches stole the spotlight, another bird caught his eye and started everything. This is the Galapagos mockingbird, the unassuming icon that sparked one of the biggest scientific revolutions in history. When Darwin arrived in the Galapagos in 1835, he noticed something odd. Mockingbirds from different islands looked slightly different in color, size, and even behavior. Same species, or were they? That simple observation planted the first seed of doubt in Darwin's mind, that species might not be fixed, and that the environment could shape life over time. In many ways, this bird is the real origin of On the Origin of Species. Physically, the Galapagos mockingbird is about 10 inches long, with a long, slightly curved bill, grayish-brown feathers, and bold white markings on its wings and underparts. But what really sets it apart is its bold personality. Unlike its shy mainland cousins, this mockingbird is curious, clever, and shockingly unafraid of humans. It will follow you down trails, land on your backpack, and even try to sip your water bottle if you're not paying attention. It's also highly social, living in family groups, cooperatively raising chicks, and fiercely defending their territory. Fun fact, there are actually 4 distinct species of mockingbirds in the Galapagos, each restricted to different islands. What started as one species likely split over time, adapting uniquely to each island's quirks, the very pattern Darwin later saw in the finches. Today, the Galapagos mockingbird is more than just a bird. It's a symbol of how paying attention to small differences can lead to earth-shaking ideas. It taught us that evolution isn't just a theory, it's a process, written in feathers, one island at a time. If you made it this far, you, my friend, are officially a bird nerd. Welcome to the flock. If you enjoyed soaring through the Galapagos with us, don't forget to like the video, share it with your fellow nature geeks, and drop a comment below. Which bird blew your mind the most? Was it the vampire finch, the flightless cormorant, or the vegetarian one. We love hearing from you, and we read every comment. Yes, even the ones correcting our pronunciation. And if you're hungry for more rare, weird, and wonderful birds from around the world, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. The next island is just a click away, because evolution never stops. And neither do we. See you in the next flight.